State Representative for the 92nd District, Dawn Keefer.
Good afternoon. For those of you who listen to Ken Matthews, you might know me as Wonder Woman. All right, here we go. All right, so listen, I've been fighting since day one, but I get calls and emails to my office all the time. What are you guys doing? You're not doing anything. You got to do something. Why aren't you fighting this governor? And I assure you that we are. We are working our tails off day in and day out, trying to counter the actions of Wolf. But how did we get here, right? A lot of people have been disengaged. A lot of business owners have been disengaged. This has been going on for quite some time. Oh, and then, okay, sorry. This has been going on for quite some time, and your heads have been down, and you continue to, I don't like this new rule, I don't like this regulation, I don't like this law, but it takes time to lift your head up and to fight it, or to challenge it, right? And so now elections have consequences, and we're actually realizing one of those consequences right now. How many people here actually voted in the last judicial election? There's only 20% of people came out and voted in the last judicial election. As a huge consequence, and we're realizing it right now, there's 3 branches of government, and we control one of them. Governor Wolf and his friends on the Pennsylvania Supreme Court control 2. So every time we've done something, and we've taken it to the courts, or the private sector's taken it to the Supreme Court, or the governor takes it to the Supreme Court, he wins every time. 836, we put the vote up. Russ Diamond, let's end this emergency declaration, right? We put up the votes, we got it done. And we thought for sure that it would stick. We didn't need the governor to sign off on it because we've never had to have his signatures on resolutions before, and because our Pennsylvania Supreme Court had just ruled against private businesses that had sued, saying the governor's shutting us down to taking, and it is a taking. But the court said no, it's not a taking because it's only temporary. And it's only temporary because the General Assembly can end it at any time that they want. All right, so we ended it. Governor Wolf takes us to court. He gets it in front of the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says, oh, no, you have to have the governor's signature now. What? Justice Wecht wrote the opinion, the same one who just said we had the power to end it. His opinion now said we did not have that unilateral power. Right? Who's challenging? Who's fighting back? We've got to come out and we have to participate. I'm talking from your supervisors to your council members to your county commissioners, your state representatives, and your judicial candidates. You've got to vote every election. That was the best money Democrats ever spent to get Wecht and his friends on that Pennsylvania Supreme Court. The best money they ever spent. We keep fighting, and we can't seem to make any headway with them, and I don't know that we're going to. So when is everybody going to stand up? Because the government exists to protect our freedoms, right? They're supposed to protect our freedoms. It's working counter to that. But everybody seems to be taking it. I'm just shocked. Everywhere I go, people asking me for permission. Can I go out of my house? Am I allowed to do this? What? Do I have to wear a mask? I mean, it's all the visualizations, but I'm just shocked by the sheet. Like, everybody just kind of says, well, this is what the rule is, and I don't like it, but this is what I have to do to move forward. People are not, a lot of your organizations are not representing you either, because they're up here, and I'm saying, aren't you mad? What are you doing for your members? And they're saying, well, we don't want to make the governor too mad. We might lose that grant money. We might lose that special funding that we have here that people can apply for loans. So it's selling out. So let's talk about the reality that they keep pushing on us. Have you ever heard the term gaslighting? I mean, that's what's going on. Our media's gaslighting it. So it's a form of like psychological abuse. One person controls another, getting them to believe that what the reality is really isn't the reality. And it comes from a 1930s movie called The Gaslight. And this husband would turn their gas lights. He kept dimming them and dimming them. And when the wife finally recognizes it and realizes, hey, the lights are getting dimmer, he says, no, they're not. And she's like, but yeah, they are. No, they're not. And he convinces her that she's losing her mind. She goes insanity. And this is what our media continues to do to us all of the time. So they're keeping, it's perpetual gaslighting with them, quite frankly. Congressman Scott Perry is a perfect example of this, right? So Congressman Scott Perry last week speaks to the Rotary, and he says, listen, are there cases of racism? Absolutely. Do they exist in different institutions? Absolutely. Is it systemic racism? No, it's not. The data does not support it. The actual data doesn't. The York Dispatch just destroyed him. Destroyed him. Of course, he's a racist, right? I mean, because how dare he not just go with what the narrative is? We have to push back on this media. Are we crazy? No, we're being gaslighted over and over again. New York has twice the amount of deaths as any other state in the country. They have 1/5 of all COVID deaths. But the media tells us that they've handled it the best. They've done the best job. Governor Cuomo's done the best job of any state. That's not true, right? And if we say that's not true, we're science deniers, right? Meanwhile, our governor shuts things down, right? He keeps us all isolated. We asked for the data, which he just finally had to give to us because of a new law. Prior to that, he wouldn't give anybody the data. He makes all the decision without the data, and nobody questions him. He might get, the paper might ask a question here or there, but nobody is really challenging him. He's getting away with this day in and day out. Now, he's coming back and saying, okay, restaurants, on September 21st, you can all go to 50% capacity. Here's the irony of that. Our case numbers are actually up. The hospitalizations are up. Like, the data actually spiked. When he took us to 25%, the data was all down. So he's contradicting his own numbers. There's no data, no science that goes along with any of his rules or any of his orders, and he's not being pushed back against. Then on top of that, did you guys know that before we had a snitch line, right? There was a snitch line with the waiver. If you were a citizen and you saw a business was open and shouldn't be, here you have a special state snitch line. We couldn't be open to answer our questions as a General Assembly, but we've got a snitch line for you to report these businesses. What is this? It's like the Gestapo, like we're tattling on our neighbors. Well, now this 50% that you can do with restaurants, only if they self-certify, right? And then it's going to help the government create a little database of all these good little ducks that are following the orders of restaurants, and then consumers can go on and they can look to see if a business is on this list. And guess what's on that list, or that little form? Another checkbox, another snitch line. So if you see a restaurant open that's not on this list, you can report them. We have to lock arms. We need to hold our legislators and our elected officials accountable. Everybody, right? When your legislator tells you one thing and does another, anybody call them? Are you calling them? You can't just be sending emails out, blanket emails to everybody, because if you're not their constituent, let me tell you, they're deleting them. We get thousands of emails. You got to get through them somehow. If you're not our constituent, they're deleting them. You need to call their district office. You need to demand that they represent you, right? It's a job. It takes time. Everything takes time. But we've gotten here. All of our businesses have gotten in this place where we are because we continued to ask the government for permission. Can we permit this? Do I need a license to do this? And we keep taking it over and over and over again, right? If they can give it to you, we're seeing they can take it from you. We want to go to work, and we can do that safely. We know we can do this safely. I trust my constituents to make the best decisions for themselves. Just like Governor Wolf could determine which risk was worth it for him to go out and march with protesters, you can decide if that risk is worth it for you. Why not? Right? We have all got to stick stick together, right? There's some simple, basic guidelines we can follow, but we have got to stick together. The benchmarks for the athletic events, who's going to stop us from showing up, right? Maybe we can't get into the stadium. We can watch from the outside of the stadium, right? Are they going to arrest all of us? You've got to start taking a stand, and I'm not saying that you need to be belligerent or disrespectful. It's time for some civil disobedience. It's time to take back your rights. Take back Pennsylvania. You stick together. Don't let them sell you out. I was on a call with some industry people with restaurants, and they were saying, it's just a few bad people. We're all following the rules. And we've told them, we'll follow the rules if you let us be open. What? The rules change every stinking minute. How are you going to follow the rules? There's no predictability in the rules. You cannot concede to this. This is not who we are. This is not what we were founded upon. And it starts with everybody engaging, holding elected officials accountable, calling them up, telling them you don't like that vote, calling them and telling them you need a vote on something else. One specific vote, here's an action item. We need immunity. We need COVID immunity. If our businesses are going to open up without the risk of somebody suing them, even if there's no grounds for it, right? And it'll never be found guilty for it. It costs a lot of money to defend yourself. We need to provide them with some basic limited immunity for COVID so that they can take the risk and open up their business without destroying their livelihoods. Why is the General Assembly not able to make this lift? It's for schools, it's for nonprofits, it's for businesses. You keep it all together. This is one small thing that we need to do, and we have to do for our businesses. Does your legislator support it? Go find out. We come back on Tuesday, and we should be putting up a vote for this basic blanket immunity for all our businesses, our schools, and our nonprofits. We need to start moving forward. And if they don't have this security, we will not be doing it. There's your action item. That's a first action item. Second action item, there's 84 legislators that did not vote in favor of overriding 836 to end this declaration that we don't need. Call their district offices. Tell them it's time to get to work for you. This administration needs to get back to work. We need to get, the government needs to service us. We're still paying our taxes. They're still cashing our checks. You call this administration, nobody answers the damn phone. Get back to Harrisburg, get to work, and let's get this state moving again. Everybody's got to come out, push back, call your legislators today. Not an email, you've got to call. Thank you.